we have completed the causes of World War I and we have discussed about the immediate cause of World War I. Today we are going to discuss about the Treaty of Versailles, League of Nations and the Russian revolutions. So let us start. Already in last class we have seen the Allied powers defeated the Central powers. What are the Allied powers? Britain, France, USA defeated the Central power countries like Germany, Turkey. So you have seen. Now the Allied powers thought that Germany was the main reason for the World War I. So now the Allied powers want to punish the Germany. So they have imposed the harsh terms and conditions on the Germany. Why? Because the Germany is the main reason for the World War I. So let us see. So Allied powers defeated Central powers. So as you know, World War I started in 1914. Officially it was ended in the year 1918. So it was started in the year 1914 and it was ended in the year 1918. The Allied powers started Treaty of Versailles. In the year 1919. So who started? You have to remember. The Allied powers started the Treaty of Versailles in the year 1919. So generally you may ask, what is the meaning of the treaty? Treaty is nothing but an agreement between the countries after the completion of the wars. So the countries generally comes to an agreement after the completion of the wars at Versailles in France in the year 1990. So 32. So how many nations were attended? 32 nations were attended. The victorious nations were invited. Yes, victorious nations were invited. Then what about the defeated or the Central powers? They were not invited. Central powers were not invited. Yes, what about the Russia? As you know, the Russia withdrawn from the World War I in the year 1970. So the Russia was also not invited. Was also not invited. So remember, Treaty of Versailles was started in the year 1919. The 32 nations were invited and they were attended. Victorious nations were invited, but the defeated nations of the Central powers were not invited, and the Russia was also not invited because it was withdrawn from the World War within the year 1970. So why they have started the Treaty of Versailles? They want to punish the Germany. They want to impose the harsh terms and conditions on the Germany. Why? Because Germany was the main reason for the World War I. Germany was main reason for World War I. So the Allied powers imposed the harsh terms and conditions. So how the terms and conditions are very harsh. So let us see what are the terms and conditions. These terms and conditions are of three types. First one is what? Territorial. Germany has to lost its territories to victorious powers. So the Germany has to give back their territories to the victorious nations of the powers. So again, Alaska, Lorraine was gave back to France. Yes, the Alaska Lorraine was gave back to the France. Let us see. In the year 1817, the German Chancellor Bismarck has occupied the Alaska Lorraine from the France. So now the Germany has to give back this Alaska Lorraine to the France. These are the what territorial conditions which was imposed on the Germany. Next condition is what? Military conditions. So next is what? Military conditions. So what are the military conditions? Let us see. The Germany has to reduce their army strength from 9 lakh to the 1 lakh. Germany has to reduce their army strength from 9 lakh to 1 lakh. So they are having the army strength of 9 lakh, but they have to maintain only 1 lakh, which was imposed by the Treaty of Versailles. Next, no submarines must be maintained. No submarines must be maintained. Again, next thing, 12, nothing but the dozen torpedo missiles must be maintained. It should not increase more than 12. So these were the military conditions which was imposed on the Germany. Yes, it has to increase their military strength from 9 lakh to the 1 lakh. Next thing, no submarines must be maintained. Next, only 12 dozen torpedo missiles must be maintained. It should not exceed more than 2. These are the what military conditions. Next, economic condition. Economic condition. Germany has to pay war indemnity. We can call it as what? Compensation also. Compensation. They thought that Germany was the main reason for the World War I, so they have to pay the fund back to the victorious nation. They have demanded nearly 6 billion pounds. As what? Compensation or war indemnity. Next thing, the Germany has to pay the war indemnity or the compensation. So the Germany thought that the Treaty of Versailles were humiliating the feelings of the Germany. How the conditions, if you see, they were very harsh and the conditions which was imposed by the Allied powers. The Germany thought that the conditions were very harsh. Why? Because we have to give back our territories in the Africa, and we have to give back the Alaska Lorraine to the France, and our military strength must be decreased from the Ottoman Empire, Turkey also. Austria, Hungary, Ottoman Empire and Turkey, Ottoman Empire, Turkey were dissolved. So already we have the Austria and the Hungary was under the one king, the Ottoman Empire in the Turkey. So these were also dissolved and many new states were formed. Many new states were formed after World War I. So what are the, let us see, the Austria-Hungary was under the one empire. After the World War I, they were separated. Austria is Hungary, Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, Finland, Estonia. So many new states were formed after the World War I. They were under the control of the Austria and the Hungary and the Ottoman Empire. So all the Austria and Hungary were formed as a different states and the Ottoman Empire were divided, and so many small states were formed after the World War I. So Austria, Hungary, Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, Finland, Estonia, etc. So this is about the Treaty of Versailles. In this Treaty of Versailles only, they have discussed about the international organization. They have discussed about the international organization. We call it as what? League of Nations. We call it as what? League of Nations, which was formed in the year 1920. You have to remember, the Treaty of Versailles was formed in the year 1919. The League of Nations was started in the year 1920. Treaty of Versailles, they have discussed about the League of Nations. In which year? 1920. So, what is the main aim of the League of Nations? Aims. So, in 2 marks they may ask, what is the main aims of the League of Nations? So, first one, setting war disputes. Setting war disputes through discussions or the negotiations. Yes. Settle the war if there were any disputes between the countries. So they have to settle the war disputes not through the war but through what? Discussions and the negotiations. Next thing, work for development. Work for development of a country. Next, health, labor welfare. So any country must work for their development of their country. They have to look after their health conditions of a nation, and the welfare must be taken by the government to the laborers, those who are working in the industries. Next, how many members? 58 members were attended. 58 members were attended. So, why this was started? In order to control the wars. But the League of Nations success is very limited. Success was very limited. nation failed to stop World War II. So the success is very limited. So it doesn't control in stopping the World War II. This is about the League of Nations. League of Nations was started in the year 1920. The main aims of the League of Nations is settle war disputes through the discussions and the negotiations and look for the development, health and the labour welfare. The success was very limited. It failed to stop the World War II. This is about the League of Nations. Next topic is what? Russian Revolution. Russian Revolution started in the year 1917 to 1922. So we are going to discuss about the Russian Revolution. Already we have known that Russia withdrawn from the World War I during the 1917. Russia withdrawn from World War I in the year 1917. Why it was withdrawn? Due to the internal disturbances. Due to internal disturbances. We can call it as what? Civil war. We can call it as what? Civil war. Due to the internal disturbances in their country, they have withdrawn from the World War I in the year 1917. That's why in Treaty of Versailles, the Russia was not invited. The Russia was not invited. Let us see about the Russia. So, Russia is a vast country spread land between Europe and Asia. Is Europe and Asia. So Russia is a vast country. It's spread between the two places, that is what? Europe and the Asia. Major part is located in the Asia and the minor portion is located in the Europe. That's why we call it as what? Is Euro-Asian power. Is Euro-Asian power. Understand why we call it as what? Euro-Asian power? Why? Because it has spread between the Europe and the Asia. Their main livelihood or their main occupation is what? Their livelihood or occupation is agriculture. Yes, most of the people generally they depend on the agriculture. Nearly 80%. If you see, Russia is the third largest populated country. Yes, third largest populated country after India and China. Yes, third largest populated country when comparing with the India and the China. There were disputes between the peasants and the feudal lords. Disputes between the feudal lords and peasants. So there were some disturbances between the feudal lords and the peasants. For what? For the land. These peasants, they pay rent to the feudal lords. Peasants pay rent to the feudal lords for the land they till. For the land they till. Generally, the peasants take the land from the feudal lords and they do the agriculture and they pay rent to the land for what they have till to the feudal lords. So there were disturbances between the feudal lords and the peasants for the land in the Russia. Let us see more points about the Russia. was ruled by Tsar Nicholas II. T silent. Tsar Nicholas II. Tsar Nicholas II. The vast Russian Empire was ruled by the Tsar Nicholas II. Already we have seen the Russia withdrawn from the World War I. World War I in the year 1917. This Russia supplied food to the soldiers in the World War I. Yes, Russia supplied the food to the soldiers who are participated in the World War I. So, due to the supply of food in the World War, there is a food shortage. Yes, food shortage. Food shortage in Russia. Yes. Next thing, they are the main losers. They are the main losers in the World War I. They have lost nearly 2 million. Yes, 2 million soldiers and civilians during World War I. So nearly they have lost the 2 million soldiers and the civilians during the World War. Lost 2 million soldiers and the civilians during the World War I. So again, due to the shortage of food, there was a revolution started in the Russia on March 8. March 8. We called it as what? March Revolution. We called it as what? March Revolution. As you know, there is an importance of March 8. Yes, everyone generally remember the International Women's Day. International Women's Day on March 8. On March 8 in the year 1917 at capital St. Petersburg. Yes, there was a revolution started in Russia. On which day you have to remember? Just generally you remember the March 8, International Women's Day. On the March 8, 1917 at capital St. Petersburg, nearly 10,000 women started procession. Procession means rally. Yes, procession means what? Rally. Demanding peace and bread. Yes, for what they have started? For demanding the peace. Yes, they were looking for the peace and bread, which were two important things in our life. Everyone needs what? Peace, and to survive we need what? Bread. So, as you see, their occupation is agriculture. So they have started supplying the food to the soldiers, those who are participated in the World War I. So due to the more supply of food due to the World War I, there is a food shortage to the people in the country. So nearly 10,000 women started the procession or rally demanding what? Their main demand is what? Peace and bread. Peace and bread. So already we have seen who is ruling. Tsar Nicholas II was ruling the Russian Empire during the World War I. So he said that suppress the revolution. Suppress the revolution or the movement with the help of army. So Tsar Nicholas II demanded their soldiers to suppress the revolution with the help of the soldiers also supported. The soldiers in the army also supported the peace and bread movement. Yes, peace and bread movement. So remember, yes, Tsar Nicholas tried to suppress with the help of the army, but the soldiers, those who are there in the army, also joined and supported the women, in which the peace and bread movement. So Tsar Nicholas left. Yes, Tsar Nicholas left his throne and disappeared. So he never expected that the soldiers will also support the movement. So what he is not having any strength or any support from the army. So he has left his throne and disappeared. Now after the Tsar Nicholas left his throne in Russia, the provisional government was formed. In Russia, so when Tsar Nicholas left his throne, which government was formed? Provisional government was formed. Yes, provisional government. Provisional government was formed by rebels and aristocrats. Yes, the provisional government was formed in the Russia by the rebels and the aristocrats. Let us see the meaning of the rebels. So these are the individuals. They are having the ideas and they generally respect the ideas of the others. What is the meaning of the aristocrats? They are the upper class in the society. So they are the persons, we call it as what? Aristocrats means the upper class in the society. They have some titles and the ranks in the society, and the rebels means they are having some ideas and they generally respect the ideas or the opinions of the others. So these together form what? Provisional government when Tsar Nicholas left his throne during the 1917 peace and the bread movement. So already Russia withdrawn from the World War I due to the internal disturbances. Now these rebels and the aristocrats wanted to send their army again in the World War I. So the rebels and aristocrats decided what? They decided to send back their army to participate in World War I. For what? For honor of Russia. So they thought that we have to maintain our honor. So we have already withdrawn from the World War I. Again they have decided that they want to send their army to participate in the World War I to maintain or to continue the honor of the Russia among the world. So, but the common people were tired by the war and they were very tired by the shortage of the food in the country. The common people were not willing to again see their country disturbances or participating in the wars. Now, so common people. Next, soldiers, people in rural areas, they doesn't want to participate in the war. So these, the common people in the society, the soldiers of the Russia and the joined as a group called as what? Soviets. Called as Soviets. Nothing but Soviet is nothing but a group of people. So people means who? The common people in the society, the soldiers of the Russia, people in the rural areas formed together as a group. We call it as what? Soviets. So all these Soviets together joined. We can call it as what? Russian Communist Party. Russian Communist Party. Group of Soviets formed as Russian Communist Party. Russian Communist Party. RC, Russian Communist Party, called as Bolsheviks. Is called as what? Bolsheviks. So all the group of Soviets formed as what? Russian Communist Party. We can call it as what? Bolsheviks. Who is the leader of the Bolsheviks? Who is going to lead this party? Vladimir Lenin. What is his name? Vladimir Lenin. Vladimir Lenin. He was born in the year 1817 and he died in the year 1924. So Vladimir Lenin is going to lead the Bolsheviks party. So what is the promise given by the Vladimir Lenin to the common people in the Russia? So he was the leader. He has to give some promise in the society of the Russia. What is the promises which was given by the Lenin? By the Lenin. So the promises by the Lenin. The group of Soviets demanded the immediate and Soviets demanded immediate and unconditional peace. Unconditional peace. So what are the promises? The Soviets demanded the immediate and unconditional peace. So they demanded next demand or the next promise by the Lenin to the society is redistribution. Redistribution of land. Yes, redistribution of the land. Already we have seen there were some disturbances or the disputes among the feudal lords and the peasants. So now the peasants were tilling their land, they are doing their agriculture, but they are paying rent to the feudal lords. So there will be no income or benefit for the peasants. So everyone should have their own land in the Russia. So that's why he said that there will be a redistribution of land in the Russia. Next thing, nationalization. Is nationalization of banks and industries. So what is the benefit of making the nationalization of banks and industries in the Russia? What is the meaning of nationalization? Nothing but the banks and the industries come under the government. When any sector comes under the government, the profit must be shared to the common people in the society. So that's what he said, that the nationalization of the banks and the industries, the profits from the banks, the profits must from the industries must be shared and divided equally to the people in the society. So this is the benefit of what? Nationalization of the banks and the industries. These were the promises by the Lenin to the Russian people. Soviets demanded immediate and what? Unconditional peace, redistribution of land and what? Nationalization of the banks and the industries. So provisional government dissolved in Russia. Dissolved in Russia. Bolsheviks. Yes. Provisional government dissolved in the Russia. Now which government is there? What? The Bolsheviks government formed by Lenin. Is formed by Lenin. Formed by the Lenin. So this was happened in the during the period of October to the November. So this was happened period between what? October to November in the year 1917. We call it as what? October Revolution. We call it as what? October Revolution. All these things will happen during the month of the October and November in the year 1917. So these were the promises by the Lenin. But is it the Lenin has maintained his promises to his people in the Russia? He has given the unconditional peace, or he has redistributed the land, or he has done the nationalization of the banks and the industries. Let us see. So he has redistributed the land. He redistributed the land. Redistributed the land. Next promise is what? Yes, he has done the nationalization of the banks and the industries. Yes, nationalization of banks and industries. Then what about the immediate and the unconditional peace? Yes, his promise was what? The redistribution of land. Next is what? Nationalization of banks and the industries. But the third is what? The immediate and unconditional peace was immediate and unconditional peace. Peace was not given to the society of the Russia by the Lenin. Why? Why? Because there were civil war. Yes, civil war during the 1970. As you know, due to the civil war in the Russia withdrawn from the World War I. So this is the what? Civil war. What is the meaning of the civil war? So why? Who started this civil war? Let us see. Civil war means what? The internal war within the country. We call it as what? Civil war. So who started the civil war in the Russia? So the white armies in Russia and anti-communist soldiers started what? Civil war. What? Who started? The white armies in Russia and the soldiers who are having the ideas against the communist party. We call it as what? Anti-communist soldiers started the civil war in Russia. the Britain. Yes, help of what? Britain, USA, France. Yes. In order to start or in order to create any internal disturbances, they need some help. So they got the help from where? They got the help from the Britain, USA and the France. But the Lenin defeated the white armies and the anti-communist soldiers in the year 1920. In the year 1920. So Lenin defeated all the oppositions in the year 1920. In the year 1920. So this is about the Vladimir Lenin, who started the Bolsheviks and how he has promised the society of the Russia we have seen. Next thing, Lenin defeated all the oppositions in the Russia in the year 1920. So again he said that Lenin said that all the empires comes under Russia to become independent. Yes. So what he said? Lenin said that all the empires which comes under the Russian Empire, they can divide and they can form as what? Independent countries or the independent nations. So all the empires which comes under Russian Empire formed as USSR. What is the expansion of USSR? Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Yes, in the year 1922. In the year 1922. Important point. In 1 mark question also they may ask, what is the expansion form of the USSR, or in which year the USSR was formed? So USSR means what? Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. So nothing but all the empires which comes under the Russian empires, they were divided and they got the freedom and they formed as the independent. But all these independent nations again together formed as a group. We call it as what? Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. In the year what? 1922. In the year 1922. USSR was formed in the year 1922. So what are the main aims or the facts of the USSR? Aims. They want to build a country. They want to build a country without exploiters like feudal lords, kings or capitalists. Yes, the main aim of USSR is what? They want to build their country, or they want to see their country without any exploiters like feudal lords, or the kings or the capitalists. Next thing, they want to build a society. They want to build a society with modernization, and industrialization. Yes, modernization and the industrialization. They want to build a society. Which society they need? The society must be developed in the modern ways, and they need what? Industrializations without inequality. Yes, without inequality of people regarding birth, gender or language. Yes, there should be without inequalities. They need a society where the people have the equal opportunities. No people must be discriminated regarding their birth or regarding the gender or based on the language. So they need a country with the no feudal lords, no king or the no capitalist in the society. They want to see their society with what? Modernization, and with the help of the industrialization. They doesn't want to see any inequalities among the people regarding the birth or the gender or the language. So this is about the aims of the USSR. The Vladimir Lenin was died in the year 1924. So was died in year 1924. After the Lenin, the rise of Stalin. Yes, rise of Stalin. Now, next who came? In the Russia, Stalin. After the Lenin, now there is a rise of Stalin. What are the ideas of the Stalin? Ideas of Stalin regarding Russian society. So Stalin want to increase economy. Yes, increase economy of USSR. Yes, he want to increase the economy of USSR. He established absolute power. Next, he started 5-year plans. Yes, he started 5-year plan to increase the economy of Russia in the year 1928. What are the policies of 5-year plan? Let us see policies of 5-year plan. Five-year plan in the year 1928. So, industrialization, and collectivization. So, what is this policy? This policy is about what? Industrialization and what? Cultivation of agriculture. Nothing but he want to increase the industries in the societies in the Russia, and at the same time he want to bring all the land comes under the agriculture as one, and the cultivation must be done collectively, and the started by the Stalin in the year 1928 in the Russian society. So we have discussed about the Treaty of Versailles, we have completed the League of Nations, and we have seen the Russian Revolution. We have studied about the March Revolution,